There are lots of bloodworm patterns available, and they've all been quite effective. But this is the first pattern I've seen that actually imitates multiple bloodworms. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 10 2x long nymph hook, some 6/0 red thread to tie with, 5 red glass beads as the body, and some red stretch flex to imitate the multiple bloodworms. Now this is a little different pattern to tie. It's really not so much fly tying, it's more being creative. The first step is to actually take a bobbin threader, and we have to put our glass beads on the bobbin threader. So what we'll do is take each glass bead and slide it onto the bobbin threader. The next stage is to take 2 strands and keep the strands long, 2 strands of our red stretch flex, and we're actually going to insert it into the bobbin threader and make sure it's equidistant between the 2 tops. Make sure you've got about the same length, and then what we're going to do is pull our beads forward and pull the stretch flex through the beads so we have an equal length of stretch flex on one side of the beads compared to the other. The stretch flex is now through the holes in the glass beads. The fun part and the tough part is to actually get it on your hook. Before you do this, make sure your hook is pinched down. You have to pinch the barb down on the hook to get it onto get the glass beads onto the hook. So what we're going to do is slowly, just 1 or 2 at a time, glass beads, put it over the hook, slide it up over the bend along with the stretch flex, and then proceed to the next ones until all 5 glass beads are on your hook. Once the glass beads and the stretch flex are on your hook, we're now going to place the hook into the vise in preparation for the next stages. Once the hook is well secured on the vise, I'm going to take my red thread and tie it in 2 beads back from the eyelet. Once our thread is tied on, I'm going to take another strand of my stretch flex. I'm going to form a real wide loop in the stretch flex, put it on over the existing ones on the top, and then pull it in right behind the 2 glass beads and form another set of 2 more larvae. Once the set of larvae are tied in the middle, what we're going to do is take a big whip finisher, if you have one, and whip finish off our thread right at that middle point, making sure you don't hook any of the chironomid larvae that you have sitting off the front of the hook. Take your red thread again, once it's been tied off in the middle, to retie it on at the rear of the hook, right behind your last bead, and I've actually angled the hook slightly down so that I can tie on this thread. If you don't do that, it can be a real hassle tying on the thread. Tie on a good thread bump at the rear of the hook, and then whip finish off. The last step to the fly is to trim the larvae, or what we call the legs. We want to trim them down to about 1 inch to 2 inches long. Sometimes we even leave them as long as 3 inches. But vary the length. Try some different patterns. This one I'm going to trim down to about 2 inches in length. And they don't have to all be the same size. Keep some longer, keep some shorter. You want this fly to be very buggy. And there it is, the finished Multi Bloodworm. It is one of the tougher patterns to tie, and it can be a little frustrating due to all the rubber legs. But believe me, when you get it out in the water, it's worth it. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca, and if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.